we are in for a wonderful treat. I'm just making sure that the live is working. Yay, it's working. Okay, so we are ready to go. I cannot wait for you to meet my guest today. She is only 16, so please be very kind in the comments because she's a little nervous and she shouldn't be because she's amazing. She's talented. And that's usually why people have nerves is because they're scared they don't add up. And she does. So without any further ado, please welcome everyone, Lala Pervan. I don't think I
Oh,
did it right,
you
even
you
still, but I
nailed
tried.
it.
I did.
Well, Lala Pervan, but
Ah,
you didn't roll the R, but it's okay. You
oh
still
yeah, I
got
can't
the
roll
vibe.
R's.
Oh, yeah, see? That's what you're missing.
Arr, stupid tongue tie. One day. No, I'm still not gonna get it fixed. I keep saying one day I'll get it fixed, but I, I'm not having any more surgeries unless they're life threatening. I'm done and over it. Like, then they're done, then I'm good. So, anywho, about you. So, how in the world at 16? Well, let's back up because you were younger than 16 when you started in the film industry. So, share with everyone how you got your start in the wonderful world of entertainment.
So I was 12 and I became unhealthily obsessed with a bunch of TV shows. I was like such a huge fan of all of these TV shows and I wanted to know how they worked. Like I wanted to meet the actresses and actors and like the directors and everything. So I was like, I'm going to do that. And my parents were like, no, you're crazy. You're not going to. And I was like, yes, I am. So I made a fan page because what else would a 12-year-old do? And then my fan page worked out. I was like making fan videos and whatever and started editing stuff. And Rosario Dawson met me. Like I met Rosario Dawson, and that was kind of like my way in. And I was so excited to meet her. And then after that, I started actually like looking up different lectures on editing and like learning all the programs and getting really into it. And now I it's my job.
Yeah. So wait, you just like kind of rolled over the fact you just met Rosario. So how did you go about meeting her? Like in the flesh, or are we talking over Zooms, FaceTimes? Like,
Instagram Live. It,
okay.
it was Instagram Live. I was just on it and cooking eggs in my pajamas, and she joined, and we talked for a while. And it was so embarrassing. I thought she was never going to speak to me again, but no, she did. She ended up talking to me, and it was really great. But
That's
after
awesome.
that, it was like super inspiring because she would tell me that I'm talented. She told me she wants me to share my creative gifts and talents with the world, and I was like, yes, it's my calling.
Absolutely. I think it's so great that you have at such a young age, you got exposure to people who could see the sunlight in you or realize that you have talent and to keep going with it. So when you told your parents you were doing all these wonderful things and happened to get the blessings from the Rosario Dawson, how
The
did it go then? Like, what were they saying to you? Because I think I would be a little like, wait, why is someone in Hollywood talking to you? What, like you would start getting suspicious. Are you sure it's not a scammer? Blah, 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 blah. And then to find out like it's all legit. So how did that go? That
yeah.
conversation go for you?
My father is still convinced that like because I met her family too. I met like her cousins and everything, and I was just getting Christmas presents for her cousin and like her children. And then my dad was like, "Are you sure that they're real?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, father. Like I know this." And my mom is like so on board though, because all my life she said, "Get rich for me, get rich so you can buy me a mansion." So she's on board. My father is very skeptical.
Oh, well, I guess in parents, you always need that dynamic. But so you were making all these fan videos. How did you even like with that, like even get started? Like what apps did you start using? When did you realize this was more than just a hobby for you? Like, how did that go about?
Apps, I started with like very basic like presentation apps that were terrible. And then I started doing more research and I downloaded this program called After Effects and Premiere Pro and all of these editing things. And I just after doing it for so long, I was like, this is so much fun. And I took a career class in 8th grade and I was like, can I do this for a career? Because we had a research careers we wanted to do. And I found it on the website we were using and I was like, oh my gosh.
Mhm.
And um yeah, I was just like, I'm gonna do this. So then I started like reaching out to YouTubers and stuff, and I was like, can I edit your videos? Can I do this? And yeah,
Wow, I just love how much not only like excitement that you have for editing, because for me, editing is like the worst part of my, not the worst part, because emails are probably my worst part, but editing is very
I can edit
close.
your videos.
Well, we'll have to work something out. But needless to say, like I'm just saying, like it's so time consuming, but also like I kind of can become a perfectionist sometimes and then get to the point where I'm like, just forget it. It's good enough. Let me just get it out there so it's not taking me weeks and weeks and weeks to do it. So, how did you get to a point where you just felt like I can start doing this for other people, not just for myself, not just a hobby?
Well, I often find myself like that too. If it's like a very if I have to edit like they send me like a 3-hour long video and they say make it 25 minutes, I'm like, okay, we're gonna need a second. But
Wow.
I don't know. I just really do enjoy seeing the final product and making people happy. And I'm not sure. I just really love doing it.
Yeah. Were there any challenges you went through with using the different programs you got? Because I have some of
Yes.
the programs you mentioned, and like Final Cut Pro is what broke this camel's back. Since people used to call me Camel because my name's Camille. Anyway, I'm just wondering, like, how did you overcome some of those challenges with it too? Because it's not an easy thing to do.
Well, after I learned the programs, they don't want to cooperate all the time.
For sure.
Sometimes they just hate me. So even now, there are some projects I'm working on, and they're like, the deadline is in 2 days. And I'm like, I know it's been 2 weeks. It's done. It just won't render, or it won't do this, or it's not working,
Mm,
or it keeps crashing. And that's a very stressful part of my job, where deadlines are important. They're just not
yeah.
easy to reach because,
Understandable.
yeah, you got to rely on the technology, not just your skills.
And the good old internet.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I had a lot of issues my first season with the internet when everyone started being at home and just we were all sharing the same network allegedly, even though we're in different houses. Learned a lot
Mhm.
more about the internet than I ever wanted to know. But I totally understand that that could be a real problem. So now what are your goals for the future? Because you're not just an editor. There's other things you do in the film industry as well. So share a little bit about that.
Yes, I've dipped my toes into modeling
Okay.
and acting, and
Mhm.
those are things that I always wanted to do. Like, even when I was 12, I wanted to do it too, but my parents were like, "That's definitely crazy." Like, I get maybe being behind the scenes and making videos and stuff, that's possible, but being on the screen, no. But then it was just recently where, again, I was on the phone with Rosario's family, and I was talking bad about myself, and they're like, "You could be a model. What do you mean? Like, you." And
Yeah.
just that motivation from them, I don't know why it means so much to me, but their motivation. And then I was looking at myself, I was like, I could be a model. So then I just started doing it, and I was like applying for jobs and acting jobs and everything. And I was like, that's another thing that I want to try to do as I get older and further my career.
No, I love that because the same thing happened with me. Like I always wanted to work in the film industry, but just kind of doubted myself. To go back a little bit, I had very big glasses, the same size head I have now, but I was very thin and I had a tongue tie. I also had a very strong accent. Like I had a lot of things working against me as far as being an actress. And I went to Ford Modeling and they told me, come back when you gain 2 more inches and lose 10 pounds. Only one of those things happened, and I'll let you guess which one. But needless to say, I was like, "Well, I guess I should work on behind the scenes." So I started changing my focus to wanting to be a makeup artist on film, and then actually worked on a film and realized this is not for me because the attention span it takes to pay attention for an entire film, I was not good at. Thankfully, I was only on that film for a few days. Otherwise, I probably would have lost my mind. But I I love that someone gave you that encouragement because for me, I was working on just a quick little Samantha Bee thing, and she happened to say to me, "You should be a motivational speaker." And I was like, "What?" And then it just kind of spiraled after that. Like, I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to find more people to interview. I just kept doing more things, but it's just a matter of getting validated sometimes by someone who's already in the industry that makes you think, oh, wait, I could do this too. So it's good you got that stamp of approval at a young age from someone who obviously knows because that girl stays booked and busy and obviously owns her own fashion line, so she knows what models look like too. And
She's not the one who said it, her cousin said it
but
to me.
still, like, they have access to all of that, you know
They
what I
do.
mean? Like, they see and they go to her fashion shows, so needless to say, like, to hear that from someone who knows, it means a lot because
Yeah, and
I
then yeah, her cousin was like, "Let me be your agent." So, that's kinda what happened. She's like my agent now, and that's awesome.
that's amazing. Now, for other kids out there who may be contemplating getting into the career of entertainment or even doing some of the things you've done, what would you suggest as a starting point?
A starting point. Hmm. It's tough because it depends on your situation. Like, it
Mm,
depends on what you have access to. Like, if you can pay a subscription on Backstage, the acting and modeling app, then you can, but it's $20 a month, and not everyone can afford that. And I think it just really depends on your support system,
mm.
on
For
what
the
you have
record,
because
Actors Access is only $45 a year, just an FYI. And that's
okay.
a little bit easier, in my opinion. I mean, is it 45? It might be 60. I don't know. I get the Screen Actors Guild discount, but needless to say, they post all the auditions, all the things right there.
Yeah. So I think it really depends on what your background is and like what you can actually do. But how I started, again, just putting yourself out there and don't be afraid. Like I put myself out there and asked to do this interview, even though I was super nervous. And just don't be afraid to go after it, no matter
Yeah.
how scared you are.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. I would agree with that. And now everyone has the ability to make their own content because almost every phone out there is a pretty well, like pretty good quality, whether it's the camera or did I point at the right place? Yes, I did. Kind of fix it in post. Just kidding. Every editor's worst thing to say. Um, but needless to say, like everybody has access now because there's so many different options whether it's using your own phone or investing in all the equipment. Because I think with the pandemic, there's been so many people now who have been making apps to make editing videos a little bit easier for those of us who aren't as gifted to use Premiere and so on. But even like iMovie, because I use that for a lot of my stuff, it's so simple. I can do it on my phone. You know, like I don't have to necessarily have all the bells and whistles, which I do. But I love that you brought up that point of it depends what you have access to as well, because depending on what market you're in, because we both live in smaller markets, you could have it almost is easier in a way too when you're in a smaller market because you don't have as much competition that's flying in on a regular basis to compete with you. So
Mhm.
there's that as well, I would add. But moving forward, what do you think you're going to do in the future? Or what would you like to do in the future?
Acting, modeling,
Mm.
editing, all of the all of those things. That's what I would like to do in the future. I'd like to move to New Jersey because it's in between DC and New York, so easy travel. And I don't know, whichever one that I because I like all 3 paths, so kind of whichever one I go more towards. I know more about editing, I wanna learn more about acting, modeling could be fun. So just wherever life lands me. I'm gonna try all 3, see which
Good for
one
you.
works best.
Yeah. Now, so just to put it out there, because you never know who's watching, what kind of TV would or film would you like to do, and why do you want to be between New York and DC? Like, what's the draw to DC?
Oh, well, like, half my family live in DC, so I spend
Oh, okay.
summers there. So, I like also, I'm really into activism, so I like being over there, Fire Drill Fridays with Jane Fonda, that was fun, and, like, I don't know, I love the environment in DC, but I also want to go to New York because that's where a lot of film opportunities are and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, what was your other question?
The draw to DC, but more or less, like, what would your dream job be? So, in case anybody's out there happen to be
Oh, yes.
casting, we can put it
Happen to
out
be
in the universe.
casting.
Yeah, manifesting.
Manifestation.
Mhm.
I'm not sure I like dramatic characters. I wanna play, like, a dramatic character on an intense TV show or a thriller, something like
Mm.
that, Telenovela. Cast me.
Now, do you speak Spanish?
See, Yo hablo un poco español, pero yo quiero aprender más. Do you speak
Ah.
Spanish?
I took it in college, so I can understand it better than I can speak it. Because, like I said, I
Oh.
can't roll my R's, so probably should have stuck with German, but I thought it was such a pretty language, I wanted to learn it too, so anywho, but
Yeah. I
ah.
speak multiple languages. I
What
speak
other
multiple.
languages do you speak?
Well, Bosnian, Serbian, and Croatian, but they're all kind of like the same. Russian, Czech, Hebrew, Spanish, and English.
Did you just rattle off 7 different languages? I believe you did. Although you said 3 were a lot alike, that's still,
Yeah.
super impressive. Now, were you
Thank
raised here your whole life or
Yes,
okay,
I was. I was raised
okay.
here. My mom came here when she was 15.
Oh,
She had
okay.
my sister, and then she had me when she was 22. So
Nice.
I was born and raised here. But I'm
Okay.
still very in tune to my culture over
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Do you visit often?
I
Well, not
can't.
now.
No.
Oh.
My father will not let me.
Oh,
No, because every time I ask him, he's like, "No, there's war over there." The war's been over for like 20 years, but he's like, "No, there's still war. You step on a landmine." Because my father's American. My mother is not. So
I understand that. My husband's American, so there's times when I'm like, "Oh, I wanna go," like, because I grew up Turkey, Germany, and Holland, and I'm like, "I wanna show my kid Turkey, blah, blah, blah," because that's like Turkey and Holland, I have the closest relationship with, I feel like, so I wanted to show her those places that I grew up, and he was like, "Oh, you can't go there," because, like, from an American perspective, a lot of times they feel like in Muslim countries that women have 0 rights there. It's everybody gets stoned or they cut your hands off and stuff. Like if you do anything small, and I think they're still scared from like news back in the day of things that happened there, and they're just like traumatized or something. And I'm like, I was there and it wasn't scary.
yeah,
So
it's not like that. People like
yeah.
Bosnia, it's a beautiful country and it's just
Hmm.
waterfalls and mountains. So if you go there, the worst that could happen is maybe you get trampled by goats. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be scary. Rest in pieces. Aside from goats. So, I just wanna make sure before we leave, if there's anything else you would like to share or tell the peoples about you?
Hmm. I don't know.
Yeah. So, like, do you have plans for college yet?
Yes, I want to go to New York Film Academy.
Oh, good, good.
Yes, or somewhere in New York. I was looking at colleges earlier today, but New York Film Academy is like my number one. And then my parents want me to go to NYU,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I'll have the grades for that. I don't know.
Well, you might
Pandemic
have
was
the
rough.
skill set, you know what I mean? Yeah, the pandemic was rough for everyone, though. I think that's a consistent thing that a lot
Yeah,
of teenagers went through. So can you share a little bit from that perspective even in the sense of, like, how's that transition been? Because to go from working from home and school from home, like, I'm sure you had a lot more flexibility to work even as opposed to now being back in school and trying to
absolutely.
gamble everything or not gamble, but, s what is it? Juggle everything.
Yeah, it has been like when I was working from home, like doing school and everything, I got very sick with COVID. So I couldn't work or do school.
Mm.
That's why my grades like dropped because I was very sick for like a month and a half. I couldn't do anything. I still don't have my sense of smell and taste, and it's been over a year. And it sucks. But even
Oh my
after that, when
gosh.
I started getting better, I had a lot more time to do everything because school, we would have like 3 assignments to do throughout the day, and then I had the rest of the day to just work on my projects, and now I come home and I have to go to bed 5 hours later. So it's very hard to try to balance both
Mm.
of them, and with programs that don't work and deadlines that are very soon, it's
Yeah,
hard,
yeah.
but
Wow. Because I was just reading an article recently about how different it is for women going from working from home and going back into work and just like the different things, all the things that women have to deal with. And just with you being a teenager as well, like homework, like a lot of times, not a lot of times, but sometimes for us working women, once we leave our jobs, we're done for the day. We might get an email here, a phone call there, whatever. But when you work for yourself, like the day never ends. the work never stops coming in, and then you also have homework and studying. Like, it's a lot. So I'm really impressed with your work ethic and school ethic, and hopefully get those grades up. Like, trying to
My
win
grades
points
are
with the parents.
my grades are pretty good. My grades are pretty good right
Good.
now.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
last year when I was sick, they were like, but
Understandable. A month and a
it
half of
wasn't my
COVID.
fault.
Yeah. They should
Yeah, I
really
couldn't.
give like a grace period or something for that in that
They
sense.
did. For the
Oh.
first, like, I was in ninth grade when it started. I'm in 11th grade now. It's like the second half of ninth grade, they didn't give any grades or anything. But after that, I got sick in 10th grade. That's when they started counting everything. So yeah.
Mm.
And even though I told them, I was like, hey, like, I every time I stand up, I pass out. It's bad. They're like, well, you should be doing your work. I'm like, okay.
Wow. I have to say, as a parent, it's the public school system has really disappointed me in their response to COVID in general, in the sense that these kids are going through so much traumatic stuff, whether they're losing family members, getting sick themselves, or dealing with illnesses around them, just the fears of everything that was going on during that time. Like, I wish there was more compassion for students and what they're going through, because this is unprecedented times. I hate using that term because everybody uses it, but I don't know any other way to explain this. And to see kids flourish should be the goal by any means necessary, and not giving them this extra pressure of, well, you have to be perfect during a time that's not perfect. Well, not that any
Yeah.
times are ever perfect, but it's just, it's been a rough couple of years. Everyone's feeling
Yeah.
it. I love that here locally, one of the colleges is starting to do mental health days and so on. So you could just take those days off, because my daughter tells me she's having a rough day. Let's just stay home. Let's eat ice cream. Let's chill. Let's talk. Like,
My school should
because
take notes. We
yeah,
need
like
it.
it's seriously, like, it's a lot. Like, and you have all your hormonal stuff going on, and just your
You
life
sound
is
like my
changing, you're
parents.
changing, you know what I mean? Like, all the things are changing. So it's, well, I am a parent of a 13-year-old. So it's just like, I see how quickly she's changed from who she was before the pandemic. Like, she was involved in a lot of things, and then just slowly kind of cocooned a little bit, even though she's still
Yeah.
the same person. It's just, it's like trying to rebuild all those things that they had before. And I'm sure it's the same for you in that sense, where it's like, I have a
Yeah.
lot to overcome, and you guys are making it harder. And you don't need to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Life could be, and like my school, we're playing it by ear,
Mhm.
and no, there's no mask mandates. People don't wear masks, and we just closed down for 2 days because there were like 85 students that were positive with COVID and 15 teachers, and we closed down for 2 days. Well, 2 extra days,
We don't
including
have mask mandates.
break, including break, but there was two
Yeah.
extra days, and I was like, I don't know. Maybe we shouldn't put on masks because we used to at least wear it on the bus, but
Yeah.
they took off that mandate too. So, like, I feel like I know a lot of people who are starting to get sick. I don't know.
Mhm.
Numbers in Michigan are high. Maybe we should do that again.
No kidding. Oh my gosh, that's scary. Well,
It is,
speaking yeah.
and yeah, I've had COVID once. I'm fully vaccinated,
Mhm.
so we're praying, but it's still scary.
No kidding. I just can't imagine it at all, because we still have mask mandates in schools, but not everywhere else for the most part where I live. And I still wear my mask because I'm just like, I don't know you people. I mean, there's times, because of course I work as an actress. So when I'm working on jobs, everyone starts off with their mask on, and then they get that first bottle of water or coffee, and then it's a chin rest for the rest of the day. So, like, there's times when I'm like, oh, please don't get me sick. And then I get the test because anything, and I'm like, I might have it. And I didn't get it at all during this time. So I'm like really scared of it, I think, because of that. But I'm sure you're going to be 100% fine since you're fully vaccinated. And I believe I was just hearing on NPR yesterday where they were stating that if you've had COVID and overcome it, as well as fully vaccinated, you have like the highest level of immunity to it, getting it
I
again. So,
I'm not gonna take that risk. We're getting the booster shot soon,
Right.
so we're gonna after that, then I'll feel secure,
Yeah. No, I
hopefully.
know. Well, needless to say, I wish I could hug you. You've been through so much and you're doing so much. I'm so proud of you. So to end on a high note, tell everyone where they can follow you and keep up with all that you're doing and support you.
You can follow me on Instagram, Layla LLP, LAJLA LLP. My name is Layla, but I go by Lala. And Twitter is the exact same handle.
Okay.
So Instagram and Twitter.
There she goes. Because I
I
kept
would say
tagging
Facebook.
Daily Petra Amos.
Daily Petramos.
Yes,
Daily
because
Petramos.
your Lala one was private. So I was like, ooh, maybe she doesn't want people to follow that one.
Mm,
So by
I
the way,
didn't even realize.
that's why I
I
was
didn't
tagging
realize.
both because you didn't just
Okay.
now plug it. So I was like, oh, wait, by the way, because I forgot to mention to you this before, but that's why I was tagging both just in case. Because I know for me, like, I always feel weird following people back if it's a private account. Like, oh, maybe it's not, maybe it's just like pictures of family and their cat or something. I don't know. Like, I'm like, I don't
Oh, no,
normally
you could
follow
follow
people
me
back
on Daily
unless I know them in
Petramos
real
too.
life. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
that's like my fan editing one. So if you're a fan of Rosario
mm.
Dawson, follow that one.
Okay. What
It's
other
perfect.
fan accounts do you have?
And that's my only one.
Okay. That's
That's what
enough.
I actually
She
use.
stays busy. That's a lot. That's a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it has been my pleasure speaking with you today, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. And I apologize again for last week because I have never done that before. In case you guys don't know, we were supposed to have this interview last week, Friday at 12 o'clock. And because of Thanksgiving, I overate like a crazy person who had never eaten before. And so my stomach had me up all night long and I slept to 2 o'clock in the afternoon the next day, totally missing our 12 o'clock interview, completely unaware of anything that was happening in the world because my daughter didn't have school. So none of my alarms went off that woke me up to tell me to start my day. And since I never slept till 2 o'clock in the afternoon before, shocking. Yeah, I didn't, yeah, that was a first and completely unprofessional. So I felt so horrible. And
It's
thankfully, we
okay.
were able to do it today. And the reason we were doing it at 4 o'clock, because last week you were on holiday as opposed to this week, we had to wait for you to get off school, but definitely
Yeah.
worth the wait. And I love the Oprah time slot because this is when Oprah used to come on when I was a kid at 4 o'clock.
Oh,
So it
really?
was kind of fun. Yeah.
Oh my
Back in the
gosh.
80s. No, just kidding. No, not quite that old, but close enough.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah, it's a long
I
time
wasn't
ago.
even thought of.
Don't you like, we're not even gonna go have the age conversations because 'cause you're closer to my daughter's age than my age. So, yeah, you just keep shining that light, girlfriend. We're really proud of you. I'm very proud of you, and I'm sure my audience is as well. Oh, I love that. Wait, I don't know that one. Am I doing it right? See, that's the
Yeah.
problem. Okay, good, because I have my camera covered so I don't see myself because 'cause I'll get to, yeah,
I'd
I'm
go
weird.
crazy. I'd go crazy. I have
That's
to look at
another
myself.
reason why I hate editing because I can't stand looking at myself, like, I'm like, "Oh my god, I look like that?" And then, yeah, I start, like, "How do I edit myself out?" Or something. So, yeah, it's better if I don't see myself, and then I'm not distracted by it, but I think I did it right, so
Th
yay!
that's a diamond. You're supposed to
Yeah, did I do it? My fingers down?
you're doing it. You're doing it.
Yay!
I'm
They
teaching you
say
new
you can't
things.
teach old dogs new tricks.
Oh,
Just
it's a
kidding.
Gen Z thing.
Oh, see, my little Gen Zer, she only taught me this one. 'Cause I don't know which way to do it, but yeah. I'm
Yay.
dyslexic, so that's another
The
problem. Oh,
the
see? All the alarms. But
all the
anywho,
alarms. I thought you were gonna turn off your ringer.
I did, but that's my alarm too. So I'm ADHD, so I have like an alarm almost every hour and a half that goes off to remind me to do whatever I need to do next. So that's the one to remind me that I need to start thinking about dinner. And I don't
Wow.
cook it for like an hour and a half from now, but it takes me that long to actually follow through.
I admire your organization skills.
And it's taken years and medication to get to this point. True story. So, needless to say, thank you for being my guest. And I think, oh, I did it the old way. Oh, well.
Yeah.
The heart's there. I don't
I
know.
guess.
All the
I guess
things.
so.
Next thing you know,
Thank
I'll be doing
you for
gang
having
signs
me.
by accident. So, which is a reminder, watch Sign the show. Anywho, thank you again for being my guest, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. And again, thanks for tuning in to the E Spot with Camille. I am your host, Camille Cower. You can find me at CamilleCower.com, as well on Instagram at The Real Camille Cower and at the E Spot with Camille as well. Thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure you share with a friend.